Are eBay and Amazon bumpers that you buy for what seems like dirt cheap any good? Today we're going to find out on this Toyota Tacoma Vijay bumper. Let's cut this thing open. We did have a little bit of damage to the box over here where you could see kind of hit, but let's give this thing a quick cut open and see exactly what comes in the box. Anything from China, you will be very, I guess you'd say, familiar with this level of cardboard, the little yellow straps, and somewhat sketchy packaging at times. So I'm actually going to set this down, put it out on the table, and we'll take a closer look as we open it up. All right, we've got, this is, I believe, going to be the strip that'll go when you cut the front bumper. Front panel here, this is just a bent piece here. Very clean stamps. No sharp edges. Impressive. As far as that goes, we'll call that a higher end piece there. This is going to be what they call their push bar, bull bar. It is most definitely not that. It's more along the lines of a decorative piece that holds a light on it. Don't hate it, but it's not, it'll be more protection on the plastic grill than the plastic grill, but don't think it's going to hold up to a lot. Light doesn't look bad, mounted quite well. All right, next piece. I am definitely a fan of this powder coating they use. No sharp edges. All this is one stamped piece up front. And that brings us to the welds, which obviously look good because, I mean, they're under this wrinkled Vijay logo. In here, weld was a little hot and dirty right there, but the nice part is all the mounting points and what mount to the winch plate are actually folded. This is a folded deal, so there will be no welds to break. All right, well, it's the quality you would expect at the price you would expect. Looking at all those parts, actually seems like it's built pretty good. I have gone down the road a couple of times of the inexpensive bumpers, and that one actually looks pretty good, better than some. Was not expecting any kind of what should you call it, instructions, but there are some instructions here. Shows you how to mount the light up, kind of gives you little hints and tips. Obviously the wording is not always the best. Tells you where to hook up all the pieces and how they're going to go on. And then it basically says right here. Working underneath the vehicle, tells you how to remove that, take off those parts. It gives you no indication of cutting needed, so we'll look at that. I have not seen any of these that don't need cutting. I would be surprised if this one doesn't, but we're going to take it apart and find out. Let's look at the hardware they supply. This is a sore spot with me, and I can show you why, because I have not been into this hardware yet. All right. They have done this, and we are going to replace it, so going to have to run to the store. This says grade 8.8. That is not a grade 8 bolt. Once again, grade 8.8 is not a grade 8 bolt. So anything that this is having to hold on, if it's any major pieces, once again, those are not grade 8 bolts. This looks like it's going to use all of the factory stuff. We got these. We'll see where those go. They don't show up on the instructions. And then we do have big red D-rings. So we'll look into this. Here's the different plates. They have like a reinforcement. More than likely it's going to attach it to the plastic front bumper. 2 with slight 90s, or slight 30-degree bend, 2 with 45-degree bend, and 2 of these reinforcement plates. So we'll put this together. Once again, this one looks like it uses the factory hardware to mount the actual bumper, which that works great for me, because I would not use anything that says grade 8.8. That's like a grade 5 bolt, because that's a metric reading. If you want something closer to grade 8 bolts, what we call in American USA grade 8 bolts, you're going to need a grade 10.8, I believe it is, or 10.9, but it'll be the metric 10.8, 10.9 is going to be the same as a grade 8. So anytime you're using anything that pulling hard, I'm going to have a winch on this. I want to use the factory hardware because it's going to be grade 8, American grade 8, or grade 10.9 or harder. So once again, these are not stressed members, so I'll probably be using these because they hold just the little brackets on. But I will not be, and do not use grade 8.8, metric 8.8 on anything that you're going to put your life or vehicle under major stress, like pulling, winching, that kind of stuff, because it will not hold up and it will shear. All right, as you can see, I've got it mocked up here. The winch is not in there. The winch I am putting in there is a rough, crunchy 12,000-pound winch that I had on one of my other vehicles. Going to use it. It's almost new, just a little dirty, but got this mocked up. I did have to make a little bit of a modification, and I'll show you what I had to do as we pulled this back off, as the bracket was not perfect. So that's the kind of things you deal with when you buy this off-brand. Now, this light bar is not up there mounted completely. I have it just sitting there. You had to cut out all of this around here, right? To put the light bar on, you had to cut out a little extra notch. I'll show you that here in a second. That extra notch that you had to cut out, if you didn't want the light bar, you had to not cut those out. So I mocked it up with the light bar off, slid it on, did some measurement, got it to fit nice and tight. There's some trim pieces that'll go here and take up these gaps. We'll clean those edges up when we put that on. So now I'll unbolt this. We will clean those edges up, get all that stuff ready to go, put the winch on, and mount it on for the last time. It also has this extra piece here, which is an added skid protection. It goes right up here. I'm opting not to run this. The reason why, first off, the factory skid plate right there, this would have to basically take that off to put this on. I'm not wanting to take that off. And there is another recovery hook down here that you would have to take off. This one can stay. I was hoping that one could also, but it doesn't look like it will. I may do some more investigations to see if there's a way to run both of them, but at the moment, this skid plate will not be going on. And in here, there's a bolt right there. We need to take it loose because what we're working on is this power steering cooler. It is every bit in the way that it can be. So we'll get those loose. Got a 12 here, a 12 here, and one over there. And we'll figure out where to move it and what we're gonna do. Good news in this little kit here, something I did not know if it did have, was the relocation for this cooler on the power steering cooler. We're gonna call it that. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It does have these brackets, does have some bolts, and it moves it back. It does have to go back. All this stuff is terrible cutting. And what I used to cut with was good old Harbor Freight oscillating saw. It works really good. Cuts that stuff like butter, but you just have to be careful because you can dig in when you're not supposed to. This is a pretty rough cut. I'm gonna clean this up, attach all the stuff. Let's put this winch on here, which, I mean, it's just installing a winch. Not that big a deal. We'll get that winch put on. We'll get everything installed, and I'll give you a close-up view of how the fit and finish at the end looks. As I was saying, I had to notch one of these out. This one right here, I had to notch the top of it. It's almost like it was too low. This one was perfect. This side, perfect. That right there had to be notched out. I couldn't find any bends. I couldn't find anything wrong or not made right. But that did have to be notched out. That bracket right there had to be notched. So we notched that out, put a little paint on it so it doesn't rust, so we can clear the winch. All right, we have come out, we've tried to get stuck. The ground is cracked, it's so dry. This is the muddiest hole we have close to the house, and unfortunately, in four-wheel drive, it just will not get stuck. Toyotas are amazing. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna just drag it a little bit. Let's see if this bumper flexes. I wanna test it, and I know you wanna see it. Now, I don't know if I should put it on slow-mo in case this thing goes flying, but let's see what happens. I am in park, dragging this thing through some dirt in four-wheel drive. It's going, but that bumper does have a little bit of deflection to it. All right, I'm gonna call that a success. I'm gonna reel in this 60 foot of line that we tried to back down in to get stuck, but unfortunately we couldn't. So I'll call that a success. There is a little deflection, I guess you would call it, because it is mounted just to that front part of the bumper, but it drug this thing, drug it across the dirt in two-wheel drive with the parking brake on and in four-wheel drive. It did move it. It does flex it just a little bit. Do I think it's going to be as strong as one welded to the frame? No. Is it going to be as strong as any of them that mount to that front bumper tab? Absolutely. So I'm happy with my purchase. Let's go back to the shop and review the whole thing. You saw us out there today. We were trying to get this thing stuck, and unfortunately we're in the middle of a drought here in Texas and was not able to find mud, and which is fine with me because I don't really care about mud. I'm more along hitting trails. We don't have anything close enough for me to just go out and test. That will be a future video. You will see more of this bumper as I do some, I guess you call it, overlanding trips. Would I recommend this bumper? Absolutely recommend this bumper to 99% of people. There are people who are building full-on rock crawler rigs. That right there, don't think that this is going to work for you. It's strong. its mounting points may be the weak spot, but all of these style bumpers all mount the same way. So that's not the bumper's fault, it's just how it is. Some of the higher end ones have a little bracket that attaches to another spot on the frame for added strength. That is something that I think is absolutely worth it. The little skid plate that I didn't put on there could add some extra strength to it, and that may be something I do in the future. Maybe I'll build some custom skid plates to replace the one underneath that covers up the engine and all that stuff. So that may be a future video because, like I said before, got a TIG welder coming. Should be here maybe next video, but it'll be 2 or 3 before I actually learn how to weld. But do I like it? Yes. Does it have problems? Not that I can see. For the price, $450, you're getting a very good looking winch mount front skid plate bumper that has integrated lights. These lights are very bright. I powered them directly one time to test them out. It's like turning the sun on. How long they last? I don't know. How good are they? I don't know. But you are getting them. And it has great built-in pods down there that are also very bright, very good. That will be a future project for me, wiring them in. I got switches to go in. Don't know if I'll make a video, but we'll see. I love how tight it is. Some of these have the D-ring shackles that are down low, pointed down, and I figured that hurts approach angle. This thing is actually closer than what the factory plastic piece is. So this gives you better approach angle than the factory plastic piece does. So I'm very happy with that. Very happy with everything supplied with it. All the parts, everything just seems to be very well built. Is it the best, most gnarly? No. Is it going to do the job that it's designed to do? Absolutely. This 12,000 pound winch has plenty of power. What you saw in the video, drug this thing, all 4 wheels locked up a little bit of a grade, trying to get it stuck. Unfortunately, we didn't have mud, and it held up just fine. It pulled just fine. It had a little bit of a flex, was not the bumper. I was watching it. I even looked under the hood. I wish I had videoed it. It was not the bumper flexing. It was the mount on the frame. So, yes, for somebody who needs a winch mount, wants better protection, wants a little bit more approach angle, this is the perfect bumper at what I consider the perfect price. If you are into the full-on rock crawling, beating and bashing your way up some very hard trails, maybe you need to spend the $1,500 for a full-on bumper, whatever, $2,000 that comes around here and protects that. I don't need that. This is going to be more of a overland trail rig, so this is going to work great for me. Really appreciate you watching. Please like the video. I know everybody says it. It actually makes a difference. And subscribe to the channel because I got more Tacoma stuff, and who knows what vehicles are coming yet next. I've got 11 car projects coming over the next year. Some of them are really cool. Not all of them are off-road, but half of them are. So we got some really cool builds coming up. I appreciate everybody for watching, and hopefully another video next week.